Miami's calling New Orleans.
Yes.
All right, here's your picks.
I'll give you 13, 98. Now I'll give you my third for now.
Third in next year's
Yeah, third next year. Yeah.
to go to 9.
Yeah.
Now, who could Miami be
I'll
going?
want one of your 2 next year instead of your third, and I'll give you a 4th next year.
Deal. So we'll figure that out. So I guess we just I guess I'm picking back to back then.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Well, with the 9th pick, I'm gonna take Kelvin Banks Jr. Teron Armstead retired, and we got to get to some help. Yeah, Kelvin Banks Jr., number 14, offensive tackle out of Texas. We got to protect Tua, and like I said, we just lost Teron Armstead, and we need to rebuild that. Of course, I could have gone with one of the corners, and honestly, had I not been able to trade up, I probably would have tried to take one of the corners that were available. But this is just a guy that's going to help protect our quarterback, solidify our offensive line at the most important position. He's also a guy that, hey, if we, got back in the second round and, drafted an offensive tackle and we wanted to move this guy in the guard and solidify our left side, that would be great. I can even see Calvin Banks moving over to the right tackle because I have a left-handed quarterback, right? So a guy that's really diverse in what he can do in an offensive line. And I think that's kind of what I need. And I know he dealt with a little ankle injury last year, but I'm hoping that he'll stay healthy. Unfortunately, Teron wasn't able to stay healthy throughout the year. And unironically, Tua wasn't able to stay healthy throughout the year. And so I'm hoping about getting one of the better offensive line prospects. I keep my quarterback upright, and we can get back to competing in the AFC East and getting back to the playoffs.
Thing is, people are talking about edge for the Saints so much, but they just paid Carl Granderson last year, I believe, and then they gave Chase Young a decent deal this year, which makes me hard to believe they're going to take a first-round pick on another edge. So,
and I mean, you always got to take it with a grain of salt. General manager did talk about the depth on the defensive line in this draft. So, just FYI.
I'm trying to find the O lineman here since that's generally looks like how it's going to be. Me personally, I prefer Josh Simmons over most of the O linemen in this class.
Just click on offense and go to guard.
Oh yeah. All right, Booker's good. I'm gonna just say, screw it. I'm taking Josh Simmons here, even though no one believes in that pick. I'm taking it for funsies.
I want you to know that.
Huh?
I hate you for taking an offensive line. I want you to know that. But
I want to take a quarterback so bad, but you'll see what I did. Why I did that? What I did just now. So,
and I'll say this, because there's a lot of talks with offensive line now for the Saints, and it's like, okay, you get an offensive tackle. What are we doing with that? Are you telling Trevor Penning that, hey, good job for getting better last year, but now go switch another position for the third time? Or are you again drafting an offensive lineman who plays one position and telling that young man, well, yeah, you played offensive tackle. You played offensive tackle at a high level, but have you ever tried playing guard? Like, at some point, you have to draft guys that play the position that they play, and stop trying to maneuver them. I'm not talking to Ace here. I'm talking.
No. Let me just counter what you're saying here. Why I took Josh Simmons. Let me just say why I took Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons played left tackle at Ohio State, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we say Fuaga. I believe I said his name right. Don't kill me if I said it wrong. Yeah. Fuaga. He's played right tackle in college, and then they switched him back to the left side. I am moving him back to that right side, his best position. Josh Simmons goes to his natural position, and you got 2 lockdown tackles right there set.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of mismatching them, trying to play a right tackle at a left tackle, because Fuaga had his moments last year, but he also struggled heavily in other moments as he was learning that new position. Let him stick to his natural side. Simmons. I know he tore his ACL or whatever. He's not gonna have a ram knee, in my opinion. He's a dog. I just Ohio State bias taking that pick. All right, Trey. You're here. Minnesota's turn. I'm sending the house here.
Okay.
Oh, we can hear you.
You can hear me? All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Minnesota is the same team that took 3 second-round picks to go from 12, to let Detroit trade from the back end of the first round to go all the way up to 12 for Jameson Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You can get them. So I am sending 40, 48.
We don't have.
Wait, well, actually, no, I wouldn't get 48. That would have been the Miami's third-round pick.
But I probably would have given that. Like, I wouldn't have. Like, I would have understood. Like, if in that real draft scenario, like if Mickey says you really want to move up to 9 and stop Chicago and San Francisco from getting the best available tackle prospect that's available, I can see them saying, hey, instead of giving us that third round pick, 98, I want 48. So, I mean, either one can work.
I can see that. And he could probably give up a future third for it. But anyways, right? So 48, third round pick, I don't care. You send whatever 2 third round picks, your second round pick, I don't care. Mm-hmm. You send Trevor Penning because they could use offensive line help in Minnesota. So you send Penning, you send your top 3 picks remaining, and you go up to number 30 here. So I'm just sending the rest of the picks to make sure this goes through. But this is for one Jalen Milroe. I don't want to hear no nonsense about nobody named Tyler Shuck because it could go with a F. I didn't hear with that shit. But y'all get the point. Yeah, Milroe. The man had his moments. We know he got benched for South Florida, but that was some other reasons, I think, in that decision. If you want to point to that. The man, when he has offensive line time, he is very good. While he does have fumbling concerns, I think that can be fixed. Mm-hmm. If you do draft Jalen Milroe, you are signing a vet quarterback and you are trading Spencer Rattler away, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But also, Milroe gives you the running ability that Kellen Moore wants. He gives you the cannon arm that you would want. Mm-hmm. He's also very young. I believe he's, 22, if I'm not mistaken? Trey, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, you're good.
22 on that. He's 22 years old, 4 years younger than Mr. FU over there up in Louisville. Mm-hmm. So he has potential, right? We know he's got the body of a quarterback. He's got the arm. He's got the legs. You season him up, and you make that your franchise quarterback. He has the most upside of anybody in this class.
And you know, I gotta give another add to the scouting report for my guy. Look.
Floor is yours.
There's going to be a lot of talks. Anybody that's looking at this and be like, oh, my God, did you see the game against, how he started against Vandy? Oh, my God, did you see the game against Oklahoma? Did you see the game against Michigan without their starters and how he played? Look, we've been there before. We've seen the young player that plays down to their competition. It was something we saw later in the Saban era. It was something we saw year one under Coach DeBoer, where if there was a team that, hey, they're coming in here, we need to step our game up, we need to do what we do, you saw Alabama rise to the occasion. And not only did you see Alabama rise to the occasion, you saw Milroe rise to the occasion. We've seen the games against Georgia. We've seen the games against LSU. We've seen the game against Ole Miss a year ago when he had just gotten his starting job back, and the guy that everybody is clamoring is just so much better than him. He outdueled him, beat him. That's what he did. And when you think of big game performers, you're not going to find a much better prospect than this guy. And playing at the level of competition that he played against. Yeah, he's had some bad games, but I guarantee you, if you look at the bad games he had, it was usually against a team that was really bad, and they didn't have the discipline. But that's something that can be coached. And you see a guy like Kellen Moore, who has a history of developing the quarterback position, not just the physical traits, but also the mental traits. How do we prepare throughout the week to get ourselves together to win? And how do I have a guy at the quarterback position that is my voice in that locker room and my voice on the field that gets those other guys on that field to do what we need them to do to execute? And so when I know what I'm seeing in my coaching room, what I've seen in this quarterback and what he can do as a leader and what he can do when he's on, and when the lights are brightest on him to shine, he's done it. And to be quite honest with you, there's not another quarterback in this draft class that can say that they've done it like he's done it when the lights were brightest. Love Shador, 1-7 versus winning teams. I don't care if you scored 34 points per game. You didn't win the games that you needed to win against the competition that asked you to do it. Jackson Dart, against some of the top teams in this league, same conference.
Yeah.
What do we ask every year? Why can't Ole Miss get the job done when they need to do it the most? A lot of that was coaching with Lane Kiffin because he has that same monkey on his back as a head coach. But that also trickled down to the quarterback position and what Jackson Dart was able to do and what happened when defenses were able to make adjustments in the second half. Ole Miss didn't look that good offensively. As much as I love Cam Gordon, he's done some good things, and he's done good things at every stop. We also got to point to the level of competition. And when they had everything in front of them, much like Alabama had everything in front of them, but you play a really good Syracuse team, and they take it to you, and you lose all of your hopes at a chance at the playoff and a national title. And so those are things we have to look at. At Wazoo and Washington State, there were some big matchups against some really good teams in the Pac-12, and they didn't always get it done. Sometimes it wasn't always on the quarterback. I understand that, just like it's not always on Jalen Milroe and some of these bad games. But if we're talking about the upside, the athleticism, the arm strength, and just a guy that I can say, hey, I watched enough big games in each of these guys' respective careers that I know if everything is on the line and I have to win this game and I need you to be the guy that rises to the occasion, you can't tell me or show me a quarterback in this draft class that's done more than he has. I rest my case. There it is. There it is.
The only thing I would say is I feel like that pick, you could get Milroe in the second, but I mean, I digress. I mean, if you really want a guy, you'll go up and get him. So I mean,
he's probably jumping ahead of Cleveland, I'd assume.
Yeah,
I mean that's probably what you're thinking because Giants have already picked their guy, and then Brown. I mean, unless you believe that Shuck is the guy that Cleveland will be like, oh, okay, we missed out on Dart. We're gonna go.
I will add also. You mentioned getting it done against the good teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
People like to point to how Tower FU decided to battled Miami, right? He threw 400 touchdowns. Might I mention that Miami's defense was not good, bro. They legit made USF and FAMU look like actual the offenses for FAMU and USF both moved the ball extremely well against Miami. Miami's defense was not very good last year. So take all that with a grain of salt, please.
Mm-hmm. No, we'll do.
All right.
But